G'day my friends, Marty Ware here from Marty's Garden, your happy worm farmer. Well, today I've got a really cool vlog for you. Yes, we're going to be talking about recycled cocoa peat as a worm bedding, and then we're going to go and have a look at my open cut half barrel worm farm. Give you guys an update there, because I'm also using this bedding in the worm farm for a mixture of worms, and it's the middle of winter, so it's going to be very interesting what you guys will see. So you're probably wondering why I've got cocoa fibre here at the end of my windrow. And to be honest, I'm not getting it for free. It should be a free material. Look, hydroponics is just being used all around the world, right? It's basically one of the food sources that we eat a lot of. And you know, most of our lettuces and rockets and different herbs and things like that has a lot of cocoa peat in it. And I really feel that it's a bedding of the future and a waste of the future that we can take hold of as worm farmers. You know, as this sort of like medical cannabis thing moves forward in certain parts of the world, it's very behind here in Australia. There's just going to be lots and lots and more of it. And it does make a pretty good bedding. I've tested it quite a few times. It's not the first time I've had it here on the micro farm. And it's a super fibrous material. And if you can see here, it's got all these roots in it. And all the species of compost worms really like to eat this stuff. I think the bacteria gets on this quite quickly and it assimilates something that's just below the surface where compost worms like to hang out, right? And where all the bacteria likes to hang out. And also there's lots of bits of cocoa peat in here and different sort of fibre that can be broken down and ingested by the worm. And it does sort of break down, not too quickly, but quicker than say you would cocoa peat that you would buy from the shop in a block, especially because it's already got that food source through it, that fibre food source already through it. And you can get this and you can break it down into compost and then mix it with other compost, and it really lightens up your material for potting mixes. So that's one thing that I'm really excited about, is as this sort of breaks down and then you mix it with your compost and your worm cast, you've got a really light, fluffy mix. And plants grow in it really, really well. So I've got some bagged up, I've got some in my wheelbarrow, and I've got some in a worm farm. So we're going to go out and have a look at the worm farm, which is about a week old now. In the half barrel worm farm, we're going to check it out and see how those worms are going in that worm farm, in that material. Alright, let's go, shall we? Whoa, she's super cold this morning, and some of my worms are struggling. I think the night crawlers, the Africans, are having a hard time. I don't even know if they're going to live through this cold snap in this worm farm. They're doing better in the windrows because they can dive into places and stay warm when they need to be, and we're having another snow out west again, so it's going to get colder in the next couple of days. But the European night crawlers and the tigers seem to be doing alright, and they're going to be the dominant worm, I would say, in this farm. Now, if you watched the last video last week where this guy come out and we built this DIY half barrel worm farm, go back and check that out and see how I built this. It's a really good video, and it shows you how to make a simple outdoor worm farm. Just using these hessian blankets. Now, I've been away for a few days, so these blankets are dry. They need to be soaked down again. I'll check if we've got any rain coming, and I'll do that. Now, I've placed some coffee grounds over the top here to sort of warm it up a bit, that nitrogen, and I'm just sort of going to mix it through into this a bit more, and sort of hopefully it'll break down and start start warming the worms up. And that's the concept there. Now, as we dive through here, it feels really cold to me. I need to buy one of those little thermometers that stick in the ground. My last one, she didn't do very good. And you can see, like, if I get this worm out here and give you a look at it, this worm, yeah, that's an African. And you can tell by the long wispy tail. He's cold, lifeless. There's nothing left. There's nothing in it. It's just still alive, but not doing so good. And when I go and get all my worms from my windrow and put them in, there's just a mixture in here. So unfortunately, I feel a bit sad for those guys at the moment. But I reckon they'll come good once the weather warms up. But if we dig in here, into this spot, you'll see I put some manure on top as well. I'm pretty sure there's a whole lot of euros and things under here. I haven't checked for a few days, and because I've been away. It'll be interesting to see what's going on. So let's dig in underneath and see how productive they are and where they're feeding. Take a bit of a look inside, eh? You'll see I've got coffee grounds. I'm going to start mixing them through a little bit more into this. But I fed this into the centre here with mung bean sprouts, basically, and a few other scraps. And look, it's all, they pretty much just polished it all off. That's just, it's almost unheard of that has gone so quickly. Maybe I'm digging through the wrong spot. No, those Africans, those European night crawlers, man, I'll tell you what, they are super hungry. You can see this fibrous material here, and some nice big euro there, moving through that. Wow, some good worms in here. Now it does feel fairly cold in here. I've got me little pink sexy gloves on that I bought from the shop. You very rarely see me put gloves on, and it's difficult for me to sort of look over the top of what's going on exactly as well. But what is really interesting is they've eaten all those mung bean sprouts. Now that's just, I don't think I've ever seen a food source disappear so quickly, honestly. And I'm not saying that to hype the video up in one little bit. And look, I'm pretty excited about it. But what I need to do, I think, is get this coffee ground sort of mixed through into the material a bit more. And I reckon they'll start moving through and eating a lot of this fibre. Well, there they go. Look, I've just grabbed another spot in the worm farm. You can see a few sort of curling up there. They found another spot to eat. And I need to come back and feed back into the centre here and maybe do another mung bean trial and see how they go eating that again, that food source. Like, I'm just like, my hands are shaking here on how excited I actually am about it. And so what I'll do is I'll sort of grab another handful here and have another look at what's going on. I want to start mixing up this coffee into the material that's in here. I put about 20 litres of coffee in here. Oh no, only about 7 litres. I shouldn't say that, 20 litres. But you can see there's still a lot of fibrous material in here. And I'd say the reason why this fibrous material isn't breaking down so quick is it's just too cold. Like, you know, you need warmth to break a bit of compost down, and the bacteria is just not forming up as quick as what it normally would. Now, when I've got my compost, I usually have a few sticks and things like that, and there's a sort of chitin comes off this, and they like to lay cocoons on the edges of these sticks and fibrous material. And you can see it's like a bit bendy, and it's not too hard, and that's when they like really starting to get into it. When it's nearly ready, it's sort of close. It's bendy, but it's still cracking a bit, so it needs to go a little bit further yet before they'll probably lay a cocoon on the edge of it. And you can see this euro here. Pretty sure that's a euro. Sometimes it's hard to see for me to see exactly from a distance. But this worm, he's cold, so he's shortened himself right up and made himself really short and stocky to stay much warmer. I'm just grabbing some cow manure from down the end there that I bought in some bags the other day. I've got to be honest, I am a little bit concerned about this worm farm because they eat all that food in the centre so quickly, and that's where they're all congregating together to keep warm around that food source, and that food source breaking down where it provides some warmth. And I've dug through here, and man, these guys, they're just cold and lifeless. And that is concerning for me. Now, there's a bit of coffee sort of still here that hasn't broken down yet. I'm going to mix all that through all the bedding now because they're not in one spot, right? And when they get cold, they're just going to stay in that one spot and then not move back to the center again. I had them all in the center feeding. And so, oh yeah, I am bothered about this, to be honest. I could maybe drag the worm farm out into the sun. I think that's something that I'll do after I do this for sure. I just got to warm these guys up. And you know me, I hate losing even one worm. And it's a struggle for me to see this happen, to be honest. So what I'm going to do is mix this coffee that I've got through here. Hopefully that'll warm it up a bit, the excess nitrogen. And then also what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this cow manure here. It's fairly fresh, but it's okay to feed it. The worms have been eating it in the other farm. I'm going to break it all up into the center here of the farm, and hopefully that'll entice them back into the middle again, into this feeding zone, and get them hungry and get them all hanging out together. And because this is fresh, this is fairly fresh, this manure here, it'll break down a bit as well and create some heat. That's the idea, but I've really got to break it up a lot to get some surface area onto it. Now, I can smell that cow manure. It is quite fresh. That is a good thing at this time because I want that excess nitrogen to really start getting in there, and I'll warm up some water for them even and put it in the center there maybe. It's not too heavy, this farm, and like I said, that it's going to be cold in the next few days, so I'm going to move it out of this spot and get it out into the sunshine, just straight on the grass in the sun. It's just what I'm going to have to do, and to save these worms. And hopefully when they warm up through the day, they'll start moving into this fresh food source here. They love this cow manure, and so it's like one of their favourite foods. So hopefully that works, guys. Wish me some luck with this, and stay updated. Yeah, I'll let you know how things work out because I'm sure you're going to be just as concerned as I am. Alright, so stay tuned. Happy worm farming, and we'll see you at the next video real soon. I'm a bit worried. Want to learn more about worm farming? Then check out these cards and the links in the description. There's plenty more for you to devour and learn from.